Alright, today we're going to talk about the complement when we're referring to probability. Okay, so the complement of a probability is when we take 1, the number 1, and then we subtract the probability of some event. So we could say the probability of X happening. So, for instance, let's give an example of that. Let's say that in a class, the probability of a randomly chosen student being female is 0.55. We could say, what is the probability that, what is the probability of the complement? So, of the complement of this situation would be, the complement of this situation would be that you're not a female, right? So it's the opposite of whatever we're asking. That's what the complement is. So the probability that you're not a female, well, we could just take the number 1, like I said. Here you always take the number 1, and then you take the probability of the event occurring, which is 0.55, and subtract it. So the probability that a randomly chosen student is not a girl, or the complement, is just going to be equal to 0.45. You could write that as a fraction if you'd like. Okay, let's think of another example. In my family, there are 7 kids, kind of a big family. So there are 7 kids in my family. Okay, of us 7, there are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 in Utah. There are 2 in California, and there's 1 sibling in South Dakota. Okay, if I said, what is the probability that if we randomly chose one of us, that we do not live in Utah? So that you can think of that as a complement when you say do not. It's an example of finding a complement, right? That a randomly chosen family member does not live in Utah. Well, we could do that 2 ways. We could find the probability that they do live in Utah, and then just subtract that from the number 1. Or we could find the probability by adding up all of the other situations. So since we're talking about complements, let's do it the first way that I suggested. So we can just take the complement of the probability that they do live in Utah, so the probability, and I'm just going to say that they live in Utah like that, is going to be 4 out of this total 7, because there are 4 of us who live in Utah. So the probability that a randomly chosen family member does not live in Utah is going to be the same as, we're just going to say not Utah, is equal to the number 1 minus 4 over 7, which is the same as 3/7. So that would be that probability, or that would be the complement. So those are a couple examples that use complement, and I hope they're helpful to you. Thanks.